Hello and welcome. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and today I'm answering your questions. And today's questions are all about how to eat healthy and cheaply, and emphasis on both. And so I can't wait to answer these questions. If you would like to get your question answered, please join our private Facebook group, Biblical Nutrition Academy. And when you enter, we're going to ask you, what is your question? Now, if you are not on Facebook, I 100% respect that. Just send us an email at info@thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and in the subject line, write question for Annette. Now, also, I love these videos because so many of you leave reviews of my books, either on Amazon or our website. And in a way to say thank you for doing that, I give away free gifts on these Q&A videos. So today I'm giving away an Omega product. And this Omega product I take every day because, now here's a secret that you may not realize. Omegas is good for your brain. You know that. Omegas is good for pregnancy. You already know that. But did you know that a good fish oil, a good omega supplement, is good for sugar cravings? Yeah, I don't even think about dessert if I've taken my omega supplements every day. And it works on a daily basis. So some days, like if I'm traveling, like, maybe I want something sweet. And then I say, oh, I didn't take my fish oil today. I didn't take my omega supplement. Because this omega specifically has the ratios to work in your mind. And so a lot of times sugar cravings are just a deficiency of healthy fats. And so that's your secret tip for today. That was worth checking out this video. I haven't even gotten to the topic. So anyway, I am going to be giving away a free product at the end of this video to someone who left a review on one of my websites, and they reviewed my Healthy Treasures cookbook. So if that was you, stay tuned to the end and see if you're the winner. Let me start answering your questions. A question was asked: I live in a rural area with not many options here in produce and organic foods. How can I make the most of my Walmart groceries until I can start my own garden? Well, that's great news for you because you're desiring the best. So when we have Walmart, Dollar General, and Aldi, we can have a limited resource, yet it's not a roadblock to our success. So the more your town, so if you can get more and more people interested in eating healthy, and you request this of the grocer is there to make money. And so the more you say, hey, I'm looking to buy this, and the more people who keep asking for that, they're going to start supplying it. Even big chains like Walmart, they're there to make money. But it takes a lot of people willing to say, hey, I want to buy this. And then sometimes I've even gone to grocers and say, I want to stock up on this item, and they can send me a whole, I don't need a pallet, but they can send me a whole crate of something and I can stock up. An example of this is, look at the Hispanic growing market in the grocery store. So we can think back maybe 20 years ago, there was no Hispanic section in the grocery store. Now every store has a Hispanic area. That's because they demanded their foods that they were used to. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's how it works. So the grocer's saying, oh, I can make money, so I will start ordering that. And so that is a way that you can start working together, teaching the Treasures of Healthy Living Bible study, get more and more people interested in eating healthy, and more people start asking the grocer to supply better food. Don't even think that you're limited by what they offer. You are a buying person, a buying customer, and they want to have your sale. Now, another option is this. You can order through co-ops. So I have 4 options for you. Number 1 is localharvest.org. is a website. You put in your location. I don't know if they're international. I apologize that so many of my answers are all based in the US. But so you can check out localharvest.org and just see what's in your area. The next one is Azure Standard. I have a link to that I'll put in the notes down below. And they supply groceries once a month, so they do have fresh produce. It seems strange shipping from like Washington or Oregon, one of those 2 states, coming all the way over to Virginia with fresh produce, but they do. They do a fabulous job of it. The next is Country Life. They're more in the Midwest, and they deliver around the country as well, although I don't think they have fresh produce. And then lastly is Bread Beckers. They deliver more in the southern region of the country, and they don't have fresh produce, but they do have a lot of your stock up items. So I hope this is very helpful to you. So one, so start talking to your grocer. 2, start looking for options locally. And 3, start looking for other suppliers who come in. Azure Standard is once a month. Country Life, they will deliver direct to you. And then Brad Becker's delivers 4 times a year. A question was asked, how do you get healthier when you're a picky family, especially veggies, and you hate cooking? Submitted by Sarah. Well, Sarah, I'm so glad you asked this. And these words that you use are all mindset choices. There is no food that can change the mindset. We must first determine if we want to be healthy. And even in John, I think it's John chapter 5, I'm not sure, but it says, Jesus says, do you wish to be well? And that's what we have to ask ourselves. Do you really wish to be well? Well, recently I biked a century bike ride on my bike, and I had to make the decision to fill my already busy schedule with training and hours of riding. It took 3 months to get back up to riding 100 miles in one day. I kind of slacked off too much. And I had to determine if the end result was worth it. And it was. I did it. But you too have to decide, is it worth it to you? And only you can decide this. I can't convince you of anything because you could unconvince yourself. There's going to be factors in the near future or that you are already experiencing that's going to help you make this decision. And that is disease or just feeling blah. Junk foods, lab experiment foods, they're going to lead to no energy because they don't release the energy from the cell. You're not going to be able to think clearly, and so many more problems are going to result. So when the results you're getting are not what you want, then the change will happen. So let me encourage you. Try 1 new food per week. Remove 1 lab experiment food per week. Try 1 new food in different ways. The foods of the manufacturer are backed by $1 billion industry so that you will never crave a healthy food ever again. You will only crave their lab experiments. Yet when we heal the mindset first, we then see all of the goodness around us. It's like things just start showing up. And then our hand reaches for God's gift of food, and the body starts to waken up the cravings for his foods. But first, you must be willing to let go of the lab experiments. Thanks for asking this question. A question was asked, can I afford biblical eating for $150 a month? And this question was asked by Stephanie. Well, Stephanie, it really depends. It depends if you want to have fun in the kitchen and be creative with cooking. I could make this happen. Yet I would need to mill my own grains and learn to eat only until I'm satisfied, not buy any processed foods, and then it's very possible. It all starts with seeking God's hand and favor in this area of your life. I once was at a farmer's market, and there was a farmer there. He just was bragging uncontrollably about his farm, and he had so much food he couldn't even give it all away. Well, of course that perked up my ears. So I went to visit this farmer, and while I was driving there, I went by this house, and the tomato plants were just overloaded with tomatoes. And I thought, oh, I need to stop by there on the way back. I went to the farmer's house, and he had 2 acres of organic soil growing the most food I've ever seen. And he was right. He was having to throw away perfectly good food because he couldn't sell it at the farmer's market. He couldn't sell enough of it. And then even the food bank wouldn't even come and get it, which makes no sense. And so I looked at that and I thought, there's a solution here. And so I said to him, we just met, we just became friends. I said, what if I take home what you can't sell? I'll bring half of it back to you, dehydrated in packages that you can then sell at the farmer's market for the next 3 years. Well, he thought about it for a second and said, yes, definitely. And so I did that. So he loaded up my Ford Explorer with these crates of food. It was incredible. And then I left, and we started such a great friendship. On the way home, I stopped at that house, and I went up to the door, and I knocked on the door, and I says, ma'am, I see your tomato plants are just overflowing. Would you like me to pick those tomato plants, those tomatoes, and bring them in to you to help you out? And she says, girl, I'm so sick of tomatoes. I don't want to see another tomato. And so she says, you go pick them and take them home. And I thought, well, okay. And so I grabbed up some grocery bags, and I went out to her little garden, and I picked 4 great big grocery bags of tomatoes. And I thought I was done until her husband came around the back side of the house with armloads of zucchini, squash, and cucumbers. He says, we're full of these too. You can have these. That day, in my 1998 White Explorer, from the front seat all the way back to the back window, I was packed full of food, and I didn't pay a dime for it. One more example for you to get the point here. I was teaching the military some classes on healthy eating and nutrition and all of that, and their same question came up as what you're saying. How do I afford this? The answer is, number one, the Lord knows your needs before you even ask, even needs that you don't even know yet to ask for. So if I'm going across the threshold of a grocery store, I say, Lord, you know my needs and you know my money that I have to pay for this. And He has always met my needs no matter what income level we have been at. But back to my military story. So I was teaching and they had the same question because they were on limited incomes as well. And so during our break time, I walked down the street to Soulard Market in St. Louis, and I had in my pocket $20. And so I went through the market and I thought, you know, I've got to teach again this afternoon. I want to go back and show them what I was able to get at the farmer's market for $20. And so I did this. I went up to the first farmer. I noticed he has some incredible cucumbers. And I said, you know, what's the best deal that you can give me? I said, I'm kind of teaching some of the military, and I just want to know, what is the best deal? He says, I've got so many cucumbers. You can have this whole crate of cucumbers for $1. I was astonished. And then I realized, oh no, I walked down the street to this market. I have no way of carrying this back. I had to call for backup. I had to call for someone to come pick me up with a car. I went to several other vendors, and I always go kind of at the end of the market because then they don't want to take this back to their farm. They want to get rid of it. And I went to the next one. What is the best deal that you can give me? Now, I am not trying to make them sell for less than their value. No, I would not want to do that. They've worked hard for that. And I don't want to insult them and tell them they need to because I'm on a limited income. I would never bring that up. I just said, one of them, when I was down, I said, I've got $5 left. What can I buy from you for $5? And they packed me up. I went back and put this whole display on of food. I said, I got all this for $20. What did I do? One, I trusted God to be my provider. Two, I stayed in that trusting attitude the whole time. I didn't step away from it and then start worrying. And three, I gave God the glory. You asked it correctly, biblical eating. If we're going to do biblical eating, then we're trusting on the biblical truths of His Word. Thanks for asking this question. A question was asked, I heard plastics are in our food. How can we avoid this when everything is in plastic containers? Submitted by Linda. Learning to cook everything is going to bring fun to the kitchen, and plus we're going to have more peace of mind than we are going to have plastics. My food that is delivered is almost never in a plastic container. So I have very specific delivery companies that deliver a lot of my food, and I'm going to share that with you. But first of all, realize the more we know how to cook, the less we're going to buy prepackaged foods. And this includes your meat, your cheeses, all of that. We can get it in better containers. But here's another answer too before I go into the resources. When you eat God's foods as natural as possible, and when you get rid of the toxins in your environment, your cells become starved for the right nutrition. And when they get the right nutrition, they kick out the plastic. So when we have herbs in our diet, they actually will interfere with the receptor so that the plastics cannot park. So it's like, plastics are like xenoestrogens. They cause an estrogenic effect. But if we have healthy estrogen in our diet, phytoestrogens that God provided, they'll come in, take that parking spot so that the plastics are then forced out. So the more we eat healthy foods, the more we take in healthy herbs, even with tea, just having some calendula tea, just some different type of teas, it goes in, fills the receptor with what God intended to be in those receptors so that the stimulants, the xenoestrogens, and I teach all about this in the nutrition manual, my book, The Nutrition Manual, so you can read more about it there. But the more we bring in the good, the more God's foods kick out the bad. So there are 3 resources you can buy food from. One is Azure Standard. I'll put a link to it down below. They deliver monthly. to the United States. The second is Country Life Foods. They deliver directly to you. And the third, if you're in the southern part of the country, it's Bread Beckers. Well, today, thank you for asking these questions, and we have a winner. Well, this person submitted a review of my Healthy Treasures cookbook. Thank you for doing that, and she is going to win the Omega. I told you this specific supplement, so your Omega supplements have different ratios of EPA and DHA depending on what the company is trying to accomplish. Well, the Amari company is all about mental wellness, and so they are focusing on healing the gut to then affect the mind so you have better, happier days. So today's winner is Christina. Christina left a review of my Healthy Treasures cookbook. So Christina, please send us an email at info@thebiblicalnutritionist.com and put in the subject line winner 139, and then we will ship this right out to you. Thank you, everyone. If you want to get your name in the drawing for a free gift, leave a review of one of my books at either Amazon or our website, and I will put your name on the list of winners. Thank you for letting me share with you God's recipe for excellent health. It always includes the number one ingredient. God loves you. He's loved you from the moment you were conceived. He has a purpose for you. And as soon as you understand that purpose that He has for you, you are going to be so satisfied in Him that nothing will be able to compete with your time with Him.